Good morning, everyone. Look, I'm not a therapist. I'm not licensed to do this, but somebody needs to talk Mr. Hohenscheld off the ledge. So, welcome to the South End Zone. It is time to break down the Georgia Alabama, yet another one for the record books, another one for the ages, an epic showdown. Didn't start out that way, Tyler. Like this thing started out, you guys were supposed to win this game, and then it you were about to like just turn the TV off in like the second quarter.
I'm gonna tell you how this is the scenes through my family's house.
Hmm.
It is 0-0. Alabama gets the ball first, and we're like, okay, we know what they can do. They come down and score right away. I'm like, that's fine. We expected that. It's gonna be a fight, and then we immediately give them the ball back, and they score again, and then they score again, and then my brother literally changes the channel at 21-0. He puts
I
on the
didn't have
Penn State
anything
game.
else to. I
He
didn't
puts on
even
the
have
Penn
anything
State
else to
game.
say to you. I
Right.
just like
Puts on
texted
the
you. I was
Penn
like,
State game,
bruh.
and then the texts start rolling through.
That's right.
And I'm like, all right, because me and my brother, like I said, and he and I are both the same way. We're the only Georgia fans within a 100-mile
Mhm.
radius. We're the only Georgia fans our friends know. Regardless of who
Mhm.
their teams are, they're happy to text the two of us. His friends are texting him. My friends are texting me. 28-0. My brother actually leaves. He goes back to his own house with his girlfriend. He doesn't stay. Like, he doesn't stay. And I'm like, you know what? I wish I could say I blame him, but I don't. Like,
Mhm.
whatever. Like, we're down 28-0. And this is credit to Alabama and discredit to us. Alabama executing their game plan to
Mhm.
perfection. And we're giving them everything they want and more. We can't tackle. We can't stop them for nothing. They get
Mhm.
every pass, every look, every whatever they want, they can have and more. We cannot do shit on
Mhm.
offense. We couldn't do anything. It was, you know, we're getting stopped at the middle. We're looking around the outside. We're getting stopped there. We're throwing in double coverage constantly. And
Mhm.
when guys are open, they're dropping the ball. That's what makes it so
Mhm.
much worse. Like you finally hit somebody. We
Mhm.
had, I think, 6 to 7 drops that would have to potentially changed the game early last night.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
at least 3 early, like, there was one to, Arian Smith down the sideline that was over the defender right here, goes through his
Mhm.
hands, and we're just like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's known for this, dude, he's like, it's crazy because Arian Smith's one of the fastest guys on the field at all
Mhm.
times and literally
Right.
can't catch the ball. And it's frustrating, and Carson Beck is looking more nervous and more
Mhm.
disheveled and more displaced, like, he can't think. He's looking his like, literally, he snaps the ball and is literally looking, throwing. And then
Yeah.
he's literally like, "Oh, the safety slopped off, not seeing 2 linebackers in front of the receiver." So we go down 28-0, and I'm just like, "You know what? We didn't come to play at all." Like, we decided to roll over right away. We didn't come to
Right.
play. Milroe looks amazing. Ryan
Mhm.
Williams looks amazing. Unbelievable, by the way. That kid is something else.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
we didn't like if we lose this game and we lose by 41-0, you know what? We deserved it because we didn't come to
Mhm.
play at all. And I wish and this is a theme for the whole game. So I wish I could blame game planning. I wish I could blame play calling, but it was
Mhm.
just simple lack of execution on both
Effort,
sides of the
effort, and
ball. Effort.
execution.
There was 0
Effort and
effort, 0
execution. Yeah.
execution on either side of the ball in that first quarter, first half. I was just like, well, if we lose, it's on us. Like Alabama looks
Mhm.
great, and I think that this Alabama team is actually really good. I'm not saying that because they still beat us. I'm saying
Mhm.
that because they actually look good. They like the Ryan Williams is a stud. Milrow
Yeah.
actually looks like a I don't know. They took Saban leaving to make Jalen Milrow look phenomenal. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. So that's for as far as the way that started out. 28-0.
Yeah.
Just
So
I
yeah.
didn't even.
So, but you
Yeah.
guys get a touchdown. You know, I don't know, like halfway through the second quarter, cut it to 28-7. It's like, okay, then you get the ball back, and there's a chance with like under 2 minutes to play, you have to, try to march down the field, the length of the field, and try to get something. And
Mhm.
instead,
Yep.
Carson Beck just throws
Throws
the
the
ball away from the end zone.
And
You
I
need a
mean, to be
safety.
fair, he was going to take a safety anyway because he got murdered by 2
Right.
Alabama
Yeah,
defensive
it was
linemen.
throw it away. Right. It was throw it away
It
and
was,
hope that they don't call it or
yeah,
take the sack and they do and you don't have
yeah.
to worry
It's
about
like
it getting
either
called.
way, it's a safety 2
Yeah.
different ways. Like I really
Right.
can't say I blame him for
Yeah.
that. Like it's just like that
Mhm.
just kind of is what it is. That just like save yourself a chance from getting killed in the end zone. Like it's just
Yeah.
he looked terrible. Like I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
Carson Beck looked terrible in the first half of that
Mhm.
game. It like he was just looking at every receiver, and it's just I don't know. And maybe he's and I'm like we were just like, is he not meant for the big game? Can he not handle
Mhm.
pressure? It just I'm not I'm still working on my thoughts even now about how I feel about Carson Beck. Like, and it just that first half was just, and I will
How
give
did that
Kirby
make you feel, Tyler? How
how
did
to
that
make
make
me
you feel?
feel. How does that using my I feel statements?
That's right.
um, I feel this is how, and but I give Kirby Smart credit because Kirby Smart will blow up on anybody. But there was a
Mhm.
moment that I caught on camera of Kirby Smart just bringing him right here. It's very clear. It's like you're our guy.
Mhm.
We're here. This is what you're meant to do. Let's go out and let's make this a game. Why don't we? Why not? Right?
Yeah.
At this
Yeah.
point, what do we have left to lose?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
and then
Exactly.
I'll tell you what though,
So
31.
let's
Sorry, go ahead.
go. No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
It was 30-7 at half,
Mhm.
and they almost missed the one field goal there too. I think it might have been the
Mhm.
second half actually, but it's like we had a chance. It's like, you know what? 28-14 is not bad. Twenty-eight
Mhm.
fourteen is not bad, and we throw a pick. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
okay. So there's that. It's like I think my brother actually left after
After that.
the
Yeah,
after
because
that.
you were like, because you said you texted me, you were like, there was our chance to actually like
Yep.
make a game of
And,
this, and it's
you know
going.
what it was? It was when we picked them off. They had the bobbled one. It
Oh
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like in
Mhm.
the red zone, and we
Mhm.
immediately we pick it off. I went, oh my
Mhm.
god, this is the chance. It was because it was was it 21-0
Is
at
that
that
when you
point?
got the
Twenty eight
safety?
nothing. No, it
Was
was
that when you
before
got?
that.
It was before
No, it was
that.
just he immediately threw the ball back to them the next play.
Mhm.
Like our
Okay.
defense was on the field so much last night, and actually I can look at the. I'm so sorry,
I,
everybody. I
no, I'm
watched
gonna
this
pull
game
up the
by
play.
play by
I'll,
play, but I'm just
I'll
like
pull up the play chart. I'll pull up the play chart here.
like I
Because it
need.
was. Oh yeah, here it is. So it was
Because we get the
interception,
turnover and we
interception.
immediately give it right back to them.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
interception, interception, and
right.
then well no, so that was right. So it was they turn it over on downs,
Yep.
and then you immediately throw a pick,
That's what it was.
and then they threw a pick back to you,
Right, that's what it was. It was
and
a
then you
flip
get
river.
and then you get the safety.
Right, that's what
It's,
it was. It
it's like
was
what the hell's going on? That's
like
why
it
I
was
said it was a tease. It was like they were like, you here it is, here it is. Nope, 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 nope. So let's continue into the tease part of it because then it
yeah.
continues. That continues into the third quarter. I
Mhm.
mean, we go. You guys get the ball to start the second half.
Mhm.
3 plays, you're going backwards. Immediately have to punt the ball.
Yep. Mhm.
Then Alabama, 3 plays. They only get 6 yards. They punt it back to you.
Yep.
Then a long 15 play, 80-yard drive in like just under 7 minutes. You punch it in, and now it's 30-15. It's a 2-score game. You go for two and
It's
get
like we
it.
felt manageable then. It's like, okay, we have
Right.
something here. And Kirby doing the going for two, I
I
thought
didn't
was
get going for
wild.
two the first time. When it was
No,
28
because
to 6, I didn't get going for two that time.
yeah,
I understood when you're down 30 because you've got to get a couple of 2-point conversions anyway. So you might as
right.
well
It's
start now.
I didn't thought the first time around we did it, I was like, I think it's a little too. I didn't necessarily like aggressively disagree with it because it's like
Mhm.
eventually like with the margin the way it is, eventually we're probably going to start that.
Right.
It is what it is. Like you get it, don't get it. It doesn't
Right.
affect the game. Hard to say. Like it is
Yeah.
what it is. Eventually, we were going to have to start going for two the way things were trending.
Right. But the
Um,
thing is, it's 30-7 until like
right,
5 minutes left in the third
right,
quarter. So like this is the game. Like there's 37 points that have been scored in
right.
almost 40 minutes.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
and then the last 20 minutes. Holy crap!
yeah.
So they get a field goal right before the end of the
They
third
do.
quarter.
They almost missed it too. It literally snuck. I thought he was going to dink it. I was like, if they And at that point too, that missed field goal would have like we said, okay, we catch a break going in a half. It's like, nope,
Mhm.
okay, now we're really down, and now we
Mhm.
have to figure it out. We're
Right.
down, now we're really down. And
Yeah, you're down
then
3 scores again at
we're
that
down
point.
3, and then it's like, okay, we got to do something here, and we just decide, okay, I guess we're gonna play some football now because we
Well,
score. Sorry,
sort
go
of
ahead.
no, but so the first possession you had in the fourth quarter, you fumbled and gave it back to them, and then they went 3 plays, 5 yards, and they punt. So, like, you didn't score until there's, like, let me
No.
see what the,
Yeah, because the box score. So like I'm saying, I'm so sorry for my remembrance of events. You think I would
well,
have
no,
watched it last week?
it was a
It's just so
it was a
much.
traumatic experience. There's a lot
Right.
of,
I'm
there's a
trying
lot
to forget. So yeah,
of
we outscored them 8-3 in the third quarter.
right,
So because I think that's we score, we go for two, we
mhm,
get it,
right.
and then at that point we were down. I think we were down
It was 33
34,
15, 33
33,
15.
and it was
Yeah, then you
33. I kept trying to do some math here.
21, you scored a
33,
touchdown,
21.
went
And
for
when it
2,
was,
didn't get it.
yeah, right. And it was when it was at the point that it was 33-21, I'm
Mhm,
like, are we really gonna do this? Like, are
mhm,
we really gonna spot them 28 points and then try to really do this?
right.
And I was like, I guess we are, because
Mm,
I'm still like I'm mad because we're down 28 nothing, and there's a part of me that's getting more mad because
right.
I could see the writing on the wall. It's like, oh no, we really are going to come back, and it's gonna hurt.
But
I can feel the energy
mhm,
shifting. I didn't.
yeah,
I'll be honest with you, chat. I didn't think we were going to completely come back, even to that extent. I was like,
right.
okay, we're going to score here, and we're going to have a little bit of hope, and then they're just going to rip it away from us again.
Well,
And then
little did you know.
and then our little did we know, and then our defense, actually starts to, get
Yeah, yeah,
stops, and they were
listen,
dog tired. Oh my god, I could
right.
not have imagined how tired they were.
Listen, man, listen to this. So here are Alabama's possessions, okay?
Please.
Touchdown, 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 touchdown,
Yep,
which you already knew, right? Okay.
yep.
Then downs, interception,
Mhm,
punt, punt, field goal, punt, punt, punt.
yep,
So the comeback. So you score the touchdown, cut it to 33-21, 6 plays, 80 yards, real quick drive, punch it in, don't get the 2 point conversion.
yep,
Alabama gets a first down and then has to punt
yep.
shortly thereafter. 6 plays, 13 yards, 2.5 minutes. Then you guys go on a 4 play, 78-yard drive in a minute and a half. Boom, touchdown again. It's 33-28. You're
Dude,
down by 5
yeah,
with
dude,
the extra point.
when we were
You
down by
force.
5, I'm just like no, at the moment when we were down we were when we were down by 2 scores still, I'm
Mhm,
like, "Okay, you know what? We at least, the score's not gonna look as ugly." And then we
right.
score again, and I'm like, "We're really" it's just all the emotions from the
I
being down
know.
28, and I'm like, "We're really down 5 right now.
Right.
Are
With
we really
five
gonna
minutes
do this?"
left.
Right,
Yeah, with
it's
five
like we're
minutes left.
down 5 with plenty of time.
Plenty of
We're
time.
really gonna do this.
Hmm.
Are we really I was like, "It's Alabama, though." I was like, "Our heart's gonna get broken somehow, some way." I
Right.
could feel it the whole time. Like, I know that, we're building, so, I'd be lying if I said my hopes were through the roof,
Hmm.
but then we score
Yeah.
to take the lead,
Yeah.
and with a minute 30 left, and I'm
Hmm.
like and I literally, I didn't even know what to do. My family and
Yeah.
I, none of us knew what to do. I'm like,
Right.
"We really just came back from down 28 nothing."
Hmm. Well, not just that. You were
Mm,
down 33 to
7,
whatever it was. 30. Well, no, it was 30-7. Then it
37.
was 30-15, and then it was
Yep.
33-15. But it was 33-15
Yeah.
with, like, in the fourth quarter. Like, you were
Yep.
down by 3 scores
It
to
was
Alabama in the
it was
fourth
thir
quarter in
it was
Tuscaloosa.
yep, it was 33-15. Yep. Where was the
With like 10 minutes
yeah.
to go in the fourth quarter
Yeah,
or something like that.
it was yeah. It was
So
33 to
you score the
15.
touchdown, you
Yeah.
get a deep ball, and I'm just like, holy crap! I cannot believe you guys hit a 67-yard
Yep, just
bomb,
laced
and
one to oh my
you know,
god.
and he breaks a couple of tackles, kind of
Mhm.
weaves around and gets in, and it's just like, holy cow! I can't believe we did this. And then Alabama gets the ball back, and in one play, Ryan Williams just ruins everything, and
Let's
that's
talk
why
about
I titled this "It Happened Again." It's just like the Tua in the 2018 national championship
the
play,
immediate dagger.
Yeah.
Immediate dagger. And we didn't even talk about the Ryan Williams. We didn't talk about the juggling catch
Oh yeah,
deep down
God.
the field where we would have gotten off the field on like 3rd and
Hmm.
6 or whatever.
Hmm.
Like, because that Kalen Deboer offense, he does not stop looking downfield ever.
No, no.
No, which I give him credit because that shit works.
Hmm.
He never stops looking downfield. I mean, that's why Washington would put up so many points for God's sakes, you know.
Right.
But yeah, Ryan will, and it was just like I was just like, oh my god, push him out of bounds. Oh my god, tackle him. Oh my god, he.
I don't
I don't know
understand
how he got
how you can have two
away.
guys. How you can have two guys right
That was
there,
like
and neither one of
Matrix
them.
shit. It was
Yeah,
like slow
yeah,
motion
it really was.
spin move to cut
Yeah.
back inside,
He
and
just
I'm
did this
like,
like
did we?
stab hezzy where he just like
Yeah,
stuck his foot in the ground, went backwards. They went by, and he just took off. It was like,
and I'm like, what the? And but like it was such a it was like a slow
it
developing
was fluid, very
very
fluid. Yeah.
fluid like spin move where we almost hit like a rocker and came back and I'm like, what just happened? And
So, but
I
let's
even
talk
said it
about
before they snapped the ball. I was like, we're gonna give it up, aren't we? And I
mm,
didn't think it was gonna be the first play.
right.
But it was the
Yeah.
first play.
So in a way, it was kind of like a mercy that it happened that quickly, right? Better than them marching down the field and then kicking a field goal with 2 seconds
Yeah,
left, because you
yeah.
guys get the ball back, and 11
Mhm.
plays, 55 yards later, you're
Ugh,
right there, and you've got a
sad.
receiver who I think he's open, and
Was he
so
though?
some
We
some
underthrew
of
that
it is.
ball.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Some of it is it was an underthrown
Underthrown.
ball, and then it was an amazing play by the DB. Like just a
Yeah.
great,
I was
like
like,
reached out over the hands of the receiver and got it. But
there was a
Carson
chance
Beck throws another
if he
pick.
threw it to the back of the end zone, there was a chance for that to be a completion. But I don't think
Hmm.
that ball ever had a chance, if I'm being honest with you,
Hmm.
Chad. Like, that was
Yeah,
underthrown the minute it left Beck's hands. Like, that should have
yeah,
been like, and we shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? But, like, if
right,
that was gonna be a completion, that needs to be, like, to the back pylon. Like,
right,
and
yeah,
maybe get your feet in bounds or throw
yeah,
it out of bounds. Like, you know what
right.
I mean? Or just let the ball sail and we'll try it again.
Yeah, because
And
you
that's
still
what I
had
mean.
time. It didn't need to be that
But
throw.
every Chad, I'll tell you, every play down feels like, "Here's the pick. Here's the pick.
Hmm.
Here's the pick.
Hmm.
It's coming. I know it's coming. Here's the interception." Like, the way
Yeah, he had the
and
one.
also, by the
He had the
way
one where he threw like a corner route in the middle
Yep.
of the field that
Mhm.
was like it was towards the sidelines, and like
Yeah.
the safety almost came underneath the front of it,
Yeah.
and then the corner was still coming over the top because
Mhm.
they had dropped they'd run
Yep.
this coverage where like the corner
Yeah.
kind of played off of him and stayed back.
He all night, though, he never could identify the linebackers dropping. It's like he
Mm-hmm.
could see the DB covering, and he could maybe see the safety coming down, but he would never he almost, like, couldn't see the linebackers in the second level. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody underneath, never once saw them, and that was, like, his
Mm-hmm.
problem all night. He could see the guy over top of our receiver, but never anybody underneath, and it's like he's throwing it
Mm-hmm.
right at these people, and I'm like,
Right.
"Holy shit, man." Like, we gotta do something, and just coming down and having the chance, I'm like, we kept all of our timeouts. I was like, "We could probably run
Right.
it here." I was like,
Right.
ETN was getting some footing there late, like, in the middle, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, we could potentially run it a couple times, like, to really just, like, to take the interception possibility out of it a couple plays.
Right.
We have some time. We had all 3 time into that last drive, we had all 3 timeouts, which was crazy because
Mhm.
we, as Georgia, we have never done that. We always burn
Right.
them early, but we had
Yeah, we
all
do
3
that too.
timeouts.
We'll burn some time out on some
Right.
dumb play on like
It's
second
like
down where we don't get the play in
and
time.
not only that, but we had the 2-minute warning to start that drive
Right,
too. So we had the
right,
2-minute
right.
warning and 3 timeouts. I was like, "Okay, let's go." When we forced the punt to start that drive,
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh my god." Like,
Yeah,
no, I'm sorry, we didn't force the punt. That was before we never mind.
before you took the lead.
When
Yep.
yeah, when they kicked it. I was like, they scored quick enough. I was like, well,
Right.
okay, we
You
have a
still got
chance.
plenty of time.
We have
Yeah.
plenty of time. And I'm like, you know what? Let's all right. I'm gonna put my heart out there. Let's break it.
Mhm.
And I didn't. I honestly would have thought it would have happened sooner in that drive. But when we got down inside the red zone, I'm like, shit,
Yeah.
man. Like it's like we could tie this thing up. Like we could really tie this
Mhm.
thing up and send it to OT. Like it
So
really
yeah,
could happen.
so would you do that? All right, so put yourself in Kirby Smart's position because I was gonna. It was too
Oh,
intense, so
going for
I
two
didn't
versus
do
if
this.
he would have
Yeah,
scored.
go for two versus kick the PAT and trust overtime because it's really
I
hard to defend Milrow in the red zone.
right.
That's why
That's exactly what I said. I was like
I would go
when
for
we
two. I would go
yeah,
for two because you don't. I think you're putting yourself at a
right.
disadvantage when you start the game at the 25-yard line.
Literally, you're Chad. You are saying the legitimately exact words that I said last night. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
if we score there, we probably had to go for two because I
Yeah.
literally said these exact words. Like, we don't want to give Jalen Milrow the ball from 25 and in. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
couldn't stop him at all. Like, he can run wherever the hell
Yeah.
he wants.
Right.
Like, so yeah, I'm thinking Kirby probably would have kicked the extra point to give us a chance to figure it out. Just
Mm-hmm.
because that's like, but there's a part of me that thinks that Kirby could have lived and died by our team at that point. And
I'm of the opinion because we did this a couple of years ago
yeah,
with Brian
mhm,
Kelly
remember
in
you
Baton
told me
Rouge
this.
in overtime. So we get the ball in overtime. We score to tie to what would have been a tie if we kicked the PAT, and we were just like, "No, man, we have the game in our hands. If we can get 2 yards, we win the game. I'm gonna just roll those dice because it's like I don't know that your odds of winning the game are any better
In
than
overtime.
from two. No, I'm saying like I don't know that your odds are any better. Like let's think about this. So going to an overtime period where you both get the ball, you both get a possession,
Yeah,
it's at best 50-50, right?
yeah,
Like somewhere in that neighborhood, you're probably at a slight disadvantage versus I have one play to get 2 yards. And if I get 2 yards, I win the game. Over. Done.
yep,
I'm taking that. I want that
right. Because
versus like a 45% chance of winning the game. Because I think at that point, from 2 yards out, you've got a 70% chance of
right,
getting the 2 yards and getting it in the end zone
right.
in that one play. So
I
that's
agree.
to me that's like a no brainer almost every time. Now there's
Yeah,
some other times where I think like okay these guys can't really score in the red zone. They bog down. They have trouble in the red zone. We're really good in the red zone. All right, we'll kick the PAT. Let's not risk somebody slipping or something stupid happening. That's I get it. But in a situation like that where it's pretty evenly matched, and I think you're at a disadvantage because Carson Beck is not going to run the ball in from 7 yards out. Jalen Milrow could literally run it in from 25 yards out.
hmm yeah.
Like
That's what I mean.
one little busted play, and
Yeah,
you're
and
done. So
he's in there. Yeah, I think I agree. I don't know what Kirby would have done if I'm being honest with you. It could go anyway because we
mhm,
started going for two very early in that game.
right.
So it shows that he was willing to go for two when we need to.
Mhm. But
But
you had burned through a couple of your
right,
2 point conversion plays
plays. That's true.
halfway.
We
So
put a lot of
you're
2 point conversion plays on film for
yeah,
everybody. But
right.
I think that at that moment you don't give Alabama any more time. With as quickly as they can get down the field, it's especially from 25 yards.
Right.
Like
Right.
you either you put it all on one play at a 2 yard line. I
Right.
think I agree. And
Yeah.
we didn't even get there. Underthrown
Mhm.
ball. Like and I wish I don't know when he threw that pick and I'm like, yep, that makes sense. Like and
Mhm.
that's what I mean.
Mhm.
It's like we were like I should say we were destined to lose, but it's like we put ourselves in the biggest hole possible and
Mhm.
then try to dig us out of it for no reason. And we outscore Bama in the second half,
Mhm.
like by like a pretty solid
By a
margin.
lot. By a lot.
By a
Yeah.
lot. Like, it's like, so we could play against
They
Alabama.
scored 11 points in the second half.
Right. It's like our
You guys
defense
scored
stood up.
27.
And you can part of that is maybe them playing conservative here and
Mhm.
there. Like, they had such a sizable lead, like might as well
Mhm.
just try to get out of there at that point.
Right.
But don't do anything too crazy. But we stood up in the second half. Like,
Mhm.
and what's crazy, and I couldn't even believe they threw a stat up on there at one point in the game that said that Beck was at 325 yards passing at that point. I was like, fucking where? Like, when did that happen?
Right.
Like, did I miss something? Like, when did that happen? Like, like what? Like, I'm like, all I see is drop passes, interceptions. When did 325 yards come into play? He threw for over 400 yards last night.
439.
Like, and
439 and 3
I'm
touchdowns.
like,
But he turned the ball over 4 times.
Right.
So if I told you before the game, all right, check it out, Tyler. You're going to turn the ball over 4 times in Tuscaloosa. You're going to turn the ball over 4 times in Tuscaloosa, and you're going to be up 1 with 2 minutes left. And you're going to have the ball in the red zone with under a minute left with a chance to win the game. You'd have been like, what the hell game am I watching? What are we talking about? And that's exactly how I felt while watching this game.
Even if you would have told me, it's like, hey, Tyler, Georgia's going to start out with a 28-point deficit and have the lead in the fourth quarter against Alabama and Tuscaloosa, I would have been like, no, Chad, incorrect. We're going to lose 45-3 at that point. Like,
right. So let's move through that. So we've gone through the emotional roller coaster that was that particular game.
Honestly, unbelievable game. Like,
it was
on a grand scale,
incredible. Yeah, incredible game. So a few things to take away from this, though. So there's 2 scenarios going on that are a little different from how they've normally been. One of those is we now have a 12-team playoff. So you guys are nowhere close to done because everything is still in front of you. If you go out and win the rest of your games, maybe even stub your toe one more time, you're still, especially like if you don't go to the SEC championship and lose it, you might actually benefit from not going if you don't go. If somehow it ends up being Alabama, Texas in the SEC championship, you guys could actually skate through without having to face that extra test.
right?
And so there's still a very good possibility. I want to go to our little handy dandy playoff predictor model. Where is it?
Well, I did want to talk about like the macro scale of this.
Yeah.
For like
Well,
just like, show me this.
Let's do this real quick, and then we'll go into that macro view because I want to get your thoughts with this not on the screen. All right, so let's go through these games. Let's just say let's say you lose to Texas, beat Ole Miss, and then beat Tennessee at home. All right, you don't make the SEC championship game. Greater than 99% chance, according to this. And where do they have you seated? As the 6th, playing Missouri. They got Missouri beating you. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But this is like some randomized FPI like predictor model thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's go back and let's do a different one because all right. So obviously that one shows you greater than 99%. Let's go crazy. Let's say you lose both of these road games and you only beat Tennessee. I just want to see what it looks like. You're still an 88% chance of making the playoff with 3 losses. And then you end up being the 9 seed playing Tennessee at Tennessee. I just wanted to, like I said, I wanted to just kind of throw that out there because this is to show like how, and I know there have been some arguments, and I understand there's some validity to it that this makes the regular season not matter. I get it. I understand the idea that making it to where a game like this doesn't almost end your season like it used to. 20 years ago, it pretty much ended your season. 10 years ago, 2 years ago, it almost ends your season. And you're hoping for some help so that you can get into the top 4 again, right? And you've got to go flawless the rest of the way.
Yeah.
In the current era, you could lose 2 more and still have an 88% chance of making the playoff.
I don't think it takes away from any of it though, because like we still have to win these games. It's like we can't lose. Right. It's not the NFL. We can't go 8-8 and still be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like these games still matter, and we still are going to play phenomenal. Ole Miss, I don't know, but we still have to play Texas and dude, the way our defense played in
Tennessee's
that
not a
first
joke,
half,
man.
the way we played, our defense played in that first half, not being able to tackle or cover or do anything. I looked at one of our friends and I'm like, dude, forget about Texas. We played Tennessee. We're going to lose by 50. Like the way our defense played last night in that first half.
Just the way the first half went last night.
Right. Like we could not tackle. We could not cover. We couldn't do a damn. We might as well. I texted you. Our defense might as well not be on the field right now.
Yeah.
Like, Alabama might as well be playing 11-on-0, like just throwing routes because that's what they're doing. Like they might as well be running skeleton offense. Like, but we like I think on the grand scheme of things, moving to like the macro scale of it all, I think that we're obviously going to drop in the rankings. I think that we drop 6 or lower, 7 or lower even. I think like Texas I think it's going to be Texas. Now they're going to put Alabama like 2-3. Because they're probably going to Texas, Bama, Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State might stay at 2, but you might see, or I mean, might move up to 2, but you might actually see Alabama leapfrog them into the 2 spot. I mean, hell, for all we know, they might just go ahead and say, Texas didn't look great against Mississippi State for like 2 quarters, so let's just go ahead and jump Alabama.
And they might, because think about it, they beat the number 2 team in the country, and the only at that point in time, the only team that you could beat better is number 1. So if you're better than number 2, then obviously, what does that make you?
Yeah, and I do think it'll give them some cause to reevaluate where they thought you guys were, just like they were reevaluating where they thought Alabama was. This because I was going back last year. You kind of it's easy to forget this stuff, but like going into the playoff last year, the week before when Alabama had just narrowly escaped against Auburn in the Iron Bowl and wouldn't have even made it to the SEC championship if that had happened.
Yeah,
I think Ole Miss would have gone instead. Alabama wins that game on that stupid gravedigger two pass rushers played by Auburn. And then they're number 8 in the country going into the SEC championship. You guys are 1 or 2 at that point, and they beat you in the SEC championship, giving you your first loss. You drop to number 5, and Alabama goes all the way from 8 to 4.
Yep.
Leapfrogging a whole bunch of other teams. And so like they have no problem whatsoever. And now this is the AP, not the the playoff committee poll. But still, these guys have no qualms just saying like, oh, you know what? We were completely wrong about this, and we were completely wrong about this. So these 2 teams are going to move 7 spots each.
Yep.
Or something like that. So
the overcorrection of just
right.
Yeah.
So let's be serious about this, because there's another point that I want to make about this game. Alabama is not above criticism. Like we talked about the fact that I'm going to go back through the possession, like the drive charts here. Let me see if I can pull this up.
We were able to start to force 3 and outs.
Yeah, you got to see this, because this is where it starts to get kind of crazy. So 8 plays touchdown, Georgia punt. Alabama 6 plays touchdown, Georgia interception. Alabama 3 plays touchdown, Georgia punt. Alabama 6 plays touchdown. And then you guys score. Then Alabama turns it over on downs. Then you guys throw a pick. They throw a pick right back to you. Safety, then a punt after you kick it, give the free kick back to them. And then you guys get to the point where is that where you missed a field goal? No. What did you guys do you were trying to get down and score, and you just didn't have enough time, I guess, to
the time just kind of ran out. Like we had the
3
ball,
plays, 56 yards.
I think we threw.
Oh yeah, he completed it to Arian Smith,
and he just kind of scampered out and then just ran out of bounds. He ran out of space.
He ran out of bounds before as the clock expired. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it was one of those like, I'm willing to give you 35 yards if it's the last play of the half, because as long as you don't score a touchdown, you're not getting a field goal because the time ran out.
Right. Exactly.
So then you guys punt, they punt. You guys score a touchdown, they get a field goal. You guys fumble, they punt. Touchdown, punt. Touchdown, punt.
Yep.
You see where I'm
Right.
going with this? Touchdown.
Yeah.
And finally, their first touchdown since the first quarter,
Right.
or no, the early
The
second
second
quarter.
quarter. Second quarter.
Early
They
second
always
quarter.
scored one touchdown in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah. They score one touchdown in the last 35 minutes of the game, 40 minutes of the game.
Mhm.
So, and they were giving up chunks to you guys.
They were.
I mean, you go back and look at the stats on this game, and your total yardage is so 439 passing from Beck, and what is that, about 75 or 80 yards rushing as a team?
Yeah.
So over 500 yards of total offense. Now, you guys gave up over 500 yards of total offense as well, but the point I'm making is Alabama's not above criticism, and this is not what I was noticing the whole time is this never happens under Saban. No chance. No chance
Yeah.
what happened last night happens under Nick Saban.
No, we lose like 45-3 if it's Saban.
If it's Saban, it is foot on your throat. You don't come up for air.
Yeah.
It's over. As soon as you get down 28-0, that's it. You're done. You're toast. The only chance you have is to get up 28-0 and hope that he doesn't find a way to come back on you. Um, but I will say this: you know who was on the sidelines in the stadium?
Yeah, yeah. You mean Donald Trump? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Nick Saban.
Yeah, Nick Saban was there. Like it wasn't his ghost. It was actually him.
Yeah.
And I don't know that like it didn't play a role. Like it's just it's crazy. But I think this story is still definitely being written, and I think this is the kind of stuff that we're going to start seeing with the 12-team playoff. College football is going to evolve
There's a
into
chance to replay them again.
there's going to be more stuff like this, and now I think you're going to have teams as time goes on, give it 3, 4, 5, 10 years, and you're going to start seeing some teams taking chances of playing games out of conference that can produce games like this.
Yeah.
Because I think you see that like in college basketball. Because what I kept thinking about with this is that this reminds me a lot of those college basketball games early in the season in December and January, where Duke plays Kentucky, Kansas plays
Hmm.
Gonzaga, or whatever, and whoever wins the game, it's huge. And whoever loses the game, it's not like it doesn't matter. It still matters because you want to win that game because it's way more important to win it than it is to lose it.
Right.
But what it does is it makes it to where losing the game is okay as long as you learn from it, build off of it. You get to evaluate, see where your team is, see some of the things you need to tighten up, see some people step into roles that you didn't think they were capable of before. And I think seeing this kind of game go down in September
Hmm.
makes it to where like now I'm like, man, I kind of get excited about where the future of college football is going because I could see some more stuff like this happening earlier in the season,
Yep.
not necessarily just these SEC matchups, but some, SEC versus Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big
Hmm.
12, Big Ten, whatever, those kinds of things that we typically don't see outside of like maybe a handful a year. You might actually see quite a bit of like cross pollination because you might start to see like they might make a new, SEC Big Ten challenge,
In like
you know?
invitational or something, right?
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
not an invitational, but
I
like
know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
when they do that thing, they're playing, 15
Right.
games at
Hmm.
different sites and everything, but
Right.
it's part of a larger,
Right.
okay, so let's see where these conferences match up against each other
Yeah.
and where the record ends up overall, because it starts to build into what you can evaluate as the committee when it's time to pick who's going to the playoff and who's
Hmm.
not. Because yeah, the conference champions is one thing, but when you're trying to decide those at large teams that didn't win their conference, it starts to get really blurry, like we saw last year with Florida State and Alabama and Oregon, and like the teams who were like right on the edge who didn't make it in, who had an argument to say like, hey, we should be in here because there was even some talk about Washington not making it into the
Hmm.
playoff last year at the end. So I just think um, this bodes well for like the future of college football. I know it's tough to watch. It's tough to experience. It's a roller coaster you probably wanted to jump off of several
Yep.
times,
Oh,
risking
unbelievable. Like
death. Uh,
I'm telling you, chat. I got pissed off so many different reasons. I got pissed off we were down 28-0. I got pissed off because I knew once the comeback started that shit was going to hit the fan eventually. I got pissed off. I was
mhm,
like, okay, not only did we just get stomped on, but now they're going to give me hope.
right.
Like you took the wind out of our sails immediately, but then you gave us
Hmm.
life. So I got
Hmm.
mad all over again. So it's
Right.
just like, I mean, I don't know. Like I think, like you talking about, like you're right, Bama, like not like stopping us like when it matters. Like we have the ability to like produce. It's just like it just didn't happen soon enough. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
like and and who knows? Bama may get exposed by other people down the road. Who knows? I mean, all I
Right.
know as you talk about like the committee and everything, is like Bama lost to Texas in September last year. And where
Yep.
were they?
That's what I'm
Where
saying.
they
That's
end
what I'm
up?
saying. Yep.
And now we
Yep.
have more availability for that same group. Well,
Right.
that was bullshit, but same sort
Hmm.
of thing to more be above par. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they
Yeah.
lost, but it's fine. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? So I would have loved to won that game. Not just it's not even like more about like our season as a whole, just because it's Alabama and
Hmm.
so the Nick Saban, not Nick Saban, Jesus Christ, Kirby Smart is 97-17
Hmm.
at UGA. And over I think 6 of those losses, he's 1-6 against Alabama.
Hmm.
So, like, it's like, it's the Ryan Day against Michigan. It's the
Hmm.
like, you start to be measured because we beat Florida. That's fine. We beat Auburn. Those are our rivals.
LSU
Like,
had a guy like
right,
that
it's just like
in the
1
'70s
and
and
6.
'80s.
Like,
Yep. Charlie McClendon couldn't beat Bear Bryant back in the day, and he got
mhm,
fired. It was LSU was like, 8-2 or 8-3, 9-2, 10-1, like every year, and we would lose to Alabama every year. Maybe like one or two wins, and then he got fired as a result of that. And I think the same thing ended up happening to Les Miles eventually. I think he started off 4-3 against Saban. Um, when he was let's see, was he? It wasn't against Saban. It was 4-3. No, it was. He was 4-3 against Saban head to head.
mhm,
Like beat him in '07, lost to him in '08. I think lost to him in '09, then beat him in, or no, beat him in '09, lost in 10, something like that. Anyway, then beat him in 11. I think it was 3-2, 3-2 or
yeah,
3-3, something like that.
yeah,
Then lost like 8 in a row. And that was it. It was just like, look, we cannot keep doing this. We can't keep like losing to Alabama. And I'm not saying Georgia's going to be looking at Kirby Smart that
no,
way,
I'm not
but
saying that either. I'm just like, for like,
yeah,
'cause because Kirby has been so astronomically successful
yeah,
as
right,
the
right,
head coach at UGA, unbelievably successful.
right,
Like I told you, I said this last year. I think Kirby gets to 100 wins before it gets to 20 losses.
yeah,
But 6 of those 17 losses, 1-6, are against one team.
mhm, yeah,
Like,
yeah. And I will say this though, like you lose like the next 5 in a row to Alabama, and it's not Saban anymore, and it's a different coach. It You will start to hear some. There's going to be some people who are going to be
yeah,
like, "Look, man, this is cool and all, but like, I like."
if it keeps impacting our seasons,
That's
yes,
what I was
I
gonna say.
think.
If it keeps keeping you out of position
Right.
to win
Yeah.
national, when you can still lose to Alabama and win a national championship,
Right.
then it
It is what
it
it is.
forgives. It doesn't matter. It's like who
Like,
cares? Like, whatever, bro.
that's what I mean. It's
But
like, wash your hands of it. We'll deal with
yeah,
it. But
but
like,
last year
if
it
it
kept
starts
you out
to
of the
impact
playoff.
our season,
Right.
right.
Last year it
So
kept you out of the playoff. If
that's
you had
one.
beaten them, you're in the national championship most likely, and
Right.
I'm thinking you have a good shot at Michigan at beating them. So, all right. So look, we're done. I'll give you this. Like, let's. You feel okay now? You feel was it a
Listen,
little
chat.
cathartic for you?
I told you. I told you. Like last night when I went to bed, I was like, bro, I just gotta go to sleep. Like you were texting me, and this morning I was like, you know what? I was like, when do I want to talk to Chad this week? And I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll talk to Chad today.
Let's do
Like
it
I
now.
was like, I was like, let's do this now because like I had so
Yeah.
many thoughts, and
Hmm.
like my friends are texting me. I was like, you know what, I got some shit to say. Because like when my
Hmm.
friends are texting me like that last night, and they're like, what's 4 + 2 6?" I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. You like Penn State, and you just meet right Alabama to piss me off.
I don't even
Like
understand what that means. What does 4 +
because
2 =
Jalen
6?
Milroe plus Ryan Williams equals 6 points.
Oh, that's really stupid.
It
All
is really
right.
stupid. I agree. Thanks, Chad.
I mean, these are
It is
they're
really
Penn State
stupid.
fans, so like
Right.
they don't have
Penn
good
State
jokes.
and Notre Dame fans
Uh,
talking to me crazy. Yeah, I know, Chad. This is what I deal with, but I'm the only Georgia fan they know. So what do they have up? It is
win
what it is.
win a national championship in this century for
Yeah,
crying out loud.
like, yeah, that's
Shut
what
the
I
hell up.
say. Like,
Hell, man.
anyway, I digress. They know who they are.
Gosh.
They know who they are. But like, it's I don't even know where I was going with that anymore, Chad. It's over. It felt good to talk.
Yeah.
Like we're moving on. We have
Right.
Auburn at home this coming weekend, and we'll talk about it
Yeah.
more. And
Mhm.
I hope to God we beat the dog shit out of Auburn. Almost beat Oklahoma last night. We'll
Yeah.
talk
Well, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that in
right.
a minute.
Okay, cathartic. We're good.
All
Wash our
right.
hands of it, and we're
Okay.
moving on.
All right. So, by the way, LSU looked really good last night.
Hey,
South Alabama came into Baton Rouge. I know it's not the same, it's South Alabama. It's not the Crimson Tide. But no, but this is a team that, like we talked about it last year, went into Stillwater and beat Oklahoma State 35-7.
they did.
They hung 87 points on
Hmm.
Northwestern, Louisiana, that is Northwestern State,
Hmm.
um, a couple of weeks ago. And they've had some,
For what
some
it's worth, they are
impressive
number one in their
showings.
conference. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. For what it's
Yep.
worth,
So LSU. Let me pull up because this one's. We talked about the Alabama Georgia you know drive chart or whatever.
I need it. Even in the most
This
traumatizing
one's
situations, you need it.
yeah. This one is kind of crazy. I got to pull it up here. Of course, it's going to take forever for me to get back to the scoreboard.
Well, that's okay.
Hang on here. I clicked on so many things on the Alabama Georgia game that like I'm in like a never-ending matrix of Alabama Georgia
Let's
pages
me,
on
me too,
this.
man. I'm not even looking at my computer.
All right. Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry, touche. That's I get what you mean there. That's it's actually pretty funny. All right, so here we go. Well, if it'll show up. Okay, so South Alabama LSU. So you want to see how it started off? Uh 71-yard touchdown, first play of the game.
Jesus.
Seven
I'll be
nothing.
honest, Chad. You got to tell me how the game went because I wish there was nothing
Yeah.
else on my mind.
So listen. So Caden Durham is a dude. A dude. A true freshman. He's a monster. So first play of the game, 71-yard touchdown on a dump off to him. Okay. Uh they go 3 and out. We get the ball back. We're inside our own 15-yard line. Um Next play. So this is our second offensive play of the game. 86 yards. What in the
What
hell
the
is
hell are
that?
you doing?
I don't understand how this happens. Is it because
Magic.
am I doing stuff like this that's making, I don't know.
Uh,
Anyway, second play of the game. Happy birthday to me, I guess. I
yeah.
don't know. What the hell is up with I had fireworks a couple of weeks ago, now
You did.
balloons.
There was a
Um,
like button next to your name about 15 minutes ago. I
are you
wasn't going to say
serious?
anything. There was. It was like literally floating next to your head. There was like a thumbs up. Anyway, keep going.
Okay. Shout out to StreamYard. Anyway, so 86 yards and he like dives and his knee like hits as he's crossing the plane. So we have to punch it in from 1 yard out. But he almost had 155, 157 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2 plays. So Caden Durham is legit. Then right before, no, with like 5 minutes left in the first quarter, we go up 21-0. They get a field goal. Then we get another touchdown. Nussmeier for a 5 yard rushing touchdown after some more Caden Durham and other guys heroics. Then Nussmeier hits Aaron Anderson for a 23-yard touchdown. It's 35-3 at halftime, and that's pretty much it. They scored a touchdown in the second half. We scored a touchdown in the second half. It was pretty much like let's not get anybody hurt for the whole second half. I'm glad we covered because that was part of my parlay, so that was good. They made me a little nervous a couple of times because they got down to where they almost made it 35-17, but we stopped them on fourth down, so that was good. But you look at the numbers, and yeah, Caden Durham, 7 carries, 128, and a touchdown. And then so Kyron Lacey ends up leading the team in receiving, but I got to check the stats because Caden Durham had a day receiving as well. Where is it? Here. Uh, yeah, 128 and a touch, 3 for 89 and a touch on 4 targets for Caden Durham. So 200 yards of total offense for the young man out of Texas. And so anyway, like I said, LSU he looked pretty good. And look, we got a benefit for it too. Guess guess who showed up on the All-State college football playoff predictor model?
Oh,
Let's go. We'll hit replay here. So look where we are. We're at 14% chance. So the way
woo!
ours works out is we have these 3 games here, and we're about to talk about Ole Miss. But so let's just say, all right, so we beat Ole Miss. Let's say, unfortunately, sadly, somehow Texas A&M beats us, and then let's just say Alabama beats us. What are our chances of making it to the playoff?
Not great.
36%. So a little bit better than that 14%, and that's with 2 losses in some ugly games that I would hope we wouldn't lose. But yeah, so that's where LSU is right now. Doesn't really mean a whole lot, but it was good to see that the defense played really well. Good coverage, got the young guys in a lot. PJ Woodland played really well. Ahmad Bro finally got to start really getting some action. And Whit Weeks filling in was, I mean, he was playing a lot already, but Whit Weeks actually like filling in for what Harold Perkins was supposed to be doing. He was getting after the quarterback a lot, making some plays in the backfield, and he was already doing that before Harold Perkins got hurt. So seeing him kind of flourish with Perkins not in the lineup, it makes me a little bit more comfortable going forward without Perkins available.
Hmm.
And then, like I said, there's some young guys we have on the D line, some young linebackers, and some young DBs that they're just going to have to start leaning on those guys that they've recruited out of high school to. Because what we've been doing since Brian Kelly came in is he's been living through the portal, and it's going to these former 3-star guys who were playing at some knockoff Division I school and bringing them in here because they have 2-3 years of experience,
Yeah,
but they're not good.
yeah,
They're like 4.7, 4.6, 40 guys, and you need these 4.3, 4.4 guys who were like 5 stars, 4 stars in high school,
yeah,
because they're actually dudes who can play the game.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that those other guys can't play. It's
No,
just
I get what you're
it's
saying though.
different.
No, for
You
sure.
can't guard Brian Williams with a dude who was like a decent cornerback at USL or
Right,
Tulane. Like you need somebody who was being recruited by Oregon and Alabama and Georgia
right.
and
No, I agree.
Michigan.
I'm right there with you, man. Like,
So,
you can obviously find like the gems on the transfer portal, but like
right.
you also need like the Ryan Williams who is going to impact your team as a young guy out of high school,
Immediately.
or
Right. Exactly.
Jeremiah, the dude, the receiver from Ohio State, who's also a freshman. Is it Smith?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, all
I don't pay
there's
attention to the
talented
big
freshmen
two.
to be had, so I agree with
Right.
what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So, like Caden Durham.
Yeah.
So Miami got bailed out on Friday night. We didn't really get to talk about this because
No,
we had just
I
done the
even forgot
show,
about that, honestly,
but
because I
but
thought that'd be the
but
best game of the weekend.
yeah, I mean, before the Alabama Georgia game, it
Yeah.
was. And they totally got bailed out. I don't understand why they overturned that call. It's bizarre. Like I could have understood if they had called it incomplete on the field,
And
then
just
not
left
overturning
it
it,
as such,
just leave
right.
it that way. But if you called that a catch, I didn't. There was no evidence whatsoever that you could say proves that he did not catch the ball and come down with possession
Mhm.
and then have the ball ripped away
'Cause
after the fact.
if you're
So.
talking, first of all, if you're talking about the guy who ripped the ball away, he's sitting out of bounds, so he's not a part of the play. So
Right.
that's
Well,
like
that's what I don't understand. Like him touching the ball, because if that's the case, then
that's a
all you have to
penalty,
do,
right?
but all you have to do then is if there's a corner route or something, just go run, jump out of bounds, and touch the ball while the Oh, it's
Yeah,
automatically incomplete.
it's the
It's
same
automatically
thing.
incomplete because I'm standing out of bounds and I touched the ball. It's
Yeah.
really stupid. But anyway, they got bailed out. But let's go to the transitive property of college football. At one point, one day, I'm going to make a graphic displaying all this stuff. But
Mhm.
what we have is I'm trying to figure out like I need to go through and actually do all the math together because I can probably come up with something quite ridiculous as to why I think there's a case that could be made for Michigan is the best team in college football. Um, and it's stupid, but it still works because Michigan beat USC. USC beat. This would have worked better if you guys had actually beaten Alabama. But
Sorry.
so Michigan beat USC. USC beat us. We beat South Carolina. South Carolina blew out Kentucky. Kentucky beat Ole Miss and almost beat you guys. And then if you guys were like the cream of the crop, then it's like, well, then I guess by the transitive property, that makes Michigan the best team in the country. But what does this mean about Vanderbilt? Because
Right.
Vanderbilt beat Virginia Tech week one, and then by all accounts, I think Virginia Tech beat Miami on Friday
Right.
night.
I think so too.
And so, like, is Vanderbilt good or is Miami not that good? Like, I don't know. I'm in this. I think I know a little bit more this week. That parlay
Houston,
would tell you that I know at least a little bit more than I thought I did.
professional ball
Um,
knower.
but I'm really struggling to put a finger on like
Yeah.
what means what in this college
Dude,
football
I literally
atmosphere.
said it. I said it yesterday. I was like, and we've said it every week because you and I do podcasts, people do shows,
Mhm.
television, whatever,
Mhm.
saying that they know their job is to say what they think and what they know about
Right.
college football, and nobody knows a goddamn thing. I don't believe
No.
it. I still don't believe it, and it's going to be October. Like I still don't believe it because like it's the shit's happening. Here's the one thing I can say confidently about Miami
It's
is
like the whole
Cam
college
Ward
football
is
is Mike
that
Leach.
guy. The
No,
thing I
he
can say
is.
about Miami is Cam Ward is that guy. He is a
Yeah.
dude. Top
He's
three in the Heisman, in my opinion, is Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Ashton Genty from Boise State.
bro,
That's your
Ashton
Heisman top
Jeanty.
three.
Let's talk
I
about that
told
kid
you. I
last
told
night.
you week one. I told you week
I
one,
know, I
Chad.
know. Hey, look, man. I got a little bit. I sprinkled a little bit after week one.
Me too.
Um, I was like, this if he wins the Heisman, it's gonna be a
If
happy
he keeps
day.
producing like that, how could you not? Right? Like I know that,
Yeah,
but if also if Cam Ward keeps playing well, then it's going to go to the
yeah,
quarterback.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it
Ashton
becomes well,
Genty belongs in New York. Period.
yeah. Oh, period. Yeah. But the thing is, where he's gonna struggle is he's not a quarterback, and if Cam Ward
Told you.
leaves, see there it is. It's because I'm doing hand motions. So
That's
if I
so
do
weird.
this, it's gonna
I
be
don't
like,
know. Oh,
look, he did
there you
it.
go. So what means balloons? I don't know. Anyway, we'll
I don't
figure it out.
know.
We'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does that do it?
I
Why
don't
don't you do
know.
something? See if it does it for
I
you.
don't know.
Um,
Anyway.
do a thumbs up. Do a thumbs up and see if it works.
No, just you. Okay.
It's just me.
Anyway.
Okay. All right. That's weird. Maybe I flip it off. No. So if Cam Ward is in the discussion, I mean, not if he's in, if Miami is in the playoff and like they win the ACC and they're like a top 3, 4 seed,
Mhm.
then and Cam Ward continues to play like he's been playing, then I think you probably end up, it's going to be hard for like an Ashton Janty playing for Boise State. If you lose a couple of games, lose to Oregon, lose to, you know what I mean? Like they've got that one loss to Oregon already. If they lose another game or two down the line, um, even if they're getting that playoff spot from the group of five,
Yeah.
I could still see them being like, yeah, he's a running back, and yeah, his numbers are great, but like, look at Cam Ward, and he's a quarterback on, the number 3 team in the country or whatever it is with Miami. So it's just I've seen too much college football over the years and seen guys
Yeah.
like Gino Torretta win the Heisman Trophy because he was playing for a Miami team that had a ridiculous defense and a bunch of dogs of a supporting cast. So I have my doubts, but I'm still hopeful. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um, so Ole Miss did not get bailed out. Um, Shout out to Lane Kiffin for letting Kentucky come into Oxford and embarrass Hotty Toddy.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Lane, we get it. It almost happened to us. So
Yeah,
we
for
get
real.
it. Like it should. Like I don't know. Like is Kentucky good? But
That's what I'm
South
saying. How did
Carolina,
South Carolina blow them out?
yeah. Like is South Carolina good? Is LSU good? Are
Are
we
we
good?
good? Yeah,
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
Like, what is this? What does this mean? Like these the numbers, the numbers. What do they mean?
Bro, like I low key want to pull out my dog catcher model and start putting stuff
Right.
together to see what
You
the math
should, dude.
says.
It might help us out, but who the hell
Bro, it
knows?
takes so much time. It's so
No, it's
much
all
work.
good. I
It
know.
was like it was taking like a whole Sunday and like half a Monday to do it. So
Yeah,
I was
dude.
like,
It
I
was
don't have
it was worth
the
it. It was worth
time.
it. But yeah,
If you
dude,
say
I don't
so.
even know.
Yeah.
Ole Miss.
So
Ole Miss,
and
Ole Miss.
keeping it in the SEC. Oklahoma, Auburn, and Arkansas, Texas A&M. We talked about these games, and um, they like lived up to the billing. We talked about that they somebody seemed to know something because these lines that they had for these games did not seem to make sense. But I'll be damned if both underdogs didn't cover because, or no, I take that back. So Auburn did not cover,
It
but
didn't?
it was close.
Oh.
No, because Oklahoma won by 6.
Oh, okay.
But it took a pick six.
Yeah.
Peyton Thorne had to throw a pick six to throw the game away for Auburn.
Dude,
So
Auburn's
that
not good.
for Oklahoma. No,
Auburn
I
still
don't think
isn't
they
good.
are. I don't think they are. And I like the Taylor Green kid in Arkansas, but
I'm
like
telling you, I think he's good. I think he is good.
I
Arkansas
don't
is
think
not.
Arkansas is good, and
It's a
A&M
KJ
almost
Jefferson
lost.
thing. KJ Jefferson is good, but the rest of his team
Right,
sucks.
right. I don't think A&M's good because but it's just one of those things where A&M still has talent, and I don't know with Mike Elko, like if they can, it's just going into College Station, and they're just gonna play different when they play us. I just know it. I've seen it. I've seen the script play out too many times. We'll blow them out in Baton Rouge, and we'll go to College Station, and we'll be in a dogfight. Like the year before we won the national championship. I don't know if you remember, but we had the Joe Burrow 7 touchdown, 7 overtime.
Oh, I
Where
yeah, I remember that.
we had him beat like 5 times. We intercept him to end the game. Kellen Mond's knee was down before he threw
Dude,
the pick.
that's literally the game that inspired the college football overtime as the way it
It
is now.
is. It is. It
That
is.
is literally the game that they point to every
Mm-hmm.
time they mention why they were to
Yeah.
try to push this new college football overtime model was
And it
because of the 74 to
right.
72 game.
And it used to be crazy for like the player props
Oh
because
my
like
god, dude.
if you had something go to overtime, it was like, I'm hitting all the overs now
Yeah, it's we're
because it's
good.
just like
Free football.
free
Yeah,
football, you get multiple
yeah.
touchdowns, multiple,
Yards.
and like 20 to 25 yards at a
Yeah.
clip every possession, whatever.
Mhm.
It's yeah, just wild. And the overs are always hitting.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so I don't know, is Oklahoma that bad or is Auburn maybe better than we
probably.
think they are? Is Hugh
I'll let you
Freeze
know Saturday.
Yeah,
I'll let you know
Is Hugh Freeze
Saturday.
actually doing something there, or is Brett Venables just like not what we thought when he left Clemson, and maybe he should just go back to being a defensive coordinator. I don't know because they don't even play that good a defense.
Yeah.
So that's the part that's crazy to me. And then Texas A&M, I just don't know what to think. And then one more thing. So USC and UCLA, this is important to me because these are two out of conference teams that LSU played. USC started to look really ugly. They were like actually losing to Wisconsin, a Wisconsin team that Alabama blew the doors off of a few weeks ago. And then, of course, USC, turned things around and ended up running away, winning by 17. So I think USC is probably not as good as I was hoping they were, not as good as maybe a lot of people thought they were. And I think LSU is probably better now than we were week one when we played them. And if we play them now, I bet we beat them by maybe a couple of scores,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter because that's not when we're playing them. UCLA, on the other hand, as bad as I thought they were, they gave Oregon a little bit of a test. Oregon ended up running away with it and won 34-13, but it was kind of the same, a very similar script to what we saw last week with LSU and UCLA, where it was 17-17 at halftime, and then we scored, 17 unanswered in the second half and blew them out.
Yeah.
The last like 6 quarters or so that LSU's defense has played, you've given up 10 points. Um, and that was after you were already up like 35-3 on
Yeah.
a South Alabama team last night. And you just, at that point, I think they definitely took the foot off the gas. So I don't know. Like I'm still trying to figure things out because I don't know if this means that our defense is getting better or if we're just getting lucky and playing teams that are not as good or
Yeah,
what. But
I don't know, man. It's hard to say. And going back to your Vanderbilt thing, and we'll talk. We're gonna have
mhm,
like a preview later in the week.
yeah,
But Alabama goes to Nashville next weekend, so I guess we'll
mm,
find out.
right, right, yeah. If
Alabama,
it's 64-10 or something
yeah.
like that,
Like, oh,
then we
we
know
know.
that
Fair enough,
Alabama's just them
dude.
again.
If Vanderbilt messes around, beats Alabama,
I mean, even if
I
even
think
if
the
they keep,
universe would just shatter. Like the
yeah,
universe would collapse.
even if they keep it close, it's going to be kind of crazy.
Right,
So
and
we're
they make
off
it
next week.
competitive.
We're off next week, and then we get Ole Miss
Mhm,
following week in Baton Rouge. So
mhm.
I won't have much to talk about
Okay.
outside of like looking at other schools, but we'll definitely give it to you guys. We can maybe um, you know let you zoom out a little bit over this
Mhm.
next few days to see how you feel about the
Take a
Alabama
deep
game
breath.
again. Yeah, take a deep breath. But yeah, so the Auburn game coming up is still, I mean, that's still one of those age old rivalries.
The
Alabama, I
oldest
mean,
oldest Deep
Georgia
South's oldest
Auburn.
rivalry.
Yeah, yeah. So it's still going to be a big one, and it's, I mean, it's not Iron Bowl level, but
Nope.
it's in that kind of LSU Arkansas,
Yeah.
that kind of, like it's still going to be a, a like one of those sibling rivalry kind of
Mhm.
deals where like somebody might get an eye scratched out.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna have their hair pulled and
Mhm.
somebody's gonna bite somebody on the leg.
Right,
It's,
no,
it's
it's
just
like
it's
yeah, it's like, is Nick Fairley gonna take Aaron Murray's head off, or is, like, it's one of those situations, like
yeah. It was cool watching Aaron Murray was doing the color commentary for the LSU game last night. That
oh,
was
was he
kind of cool.
really? I told you, I
Yeah.
literally one game last night, so that's awesome.
Mm,
I
yeah.
miss Aaron Murray. I love Aaron Murray.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, that is about it. We had to get in here and get this, let Tyler get this stuff off his chest
Yeah.
quick and in a hurry because um, that was a tough one. But at the same time, I still think, like we said, I think there's plenty to build on from that. You'd
Mhm.
like to get that win, but and I'll say this one last thing before we move on because this goes back to this. Alabama is not above criticism. Look, man, for all the things you want to say positive about Kalen Deboer and like how explosive that offense is and everything else, that ball, like, because we saw earlier, Brian Williams like bobbled one and like threw it up into the air and then like
Mhm.
turned around, like didn't know where the ball was, turned around and
Listen,
like, oh, there it is, and caught it.
yeah.
If he like doesn't catch that ball cleanly on that last touchdown
Yeah.
and somehow you guys intercept that, this goes down as like one of the biggest debacles in Alabama
Right.
history.
And not
So
only
like
that,
they
Chad.
were
Oh,
that,
sorry.
like you looked at the people in the stands, they were like, what the hell? This is not supposed to happen to
They were
us.
stunned. There
They
was
were
people already doing
seriously stunned.
this in the
Yes.
stands in
Yes.
Bryant Denny. Not only that, Chad, but we're talking about like 7 wide open drops by our
Yeah.
receivers
Right.
deep
And
downfield.
four turnovers.
Right. So we are not only spotted them 28 points, but we spotted them
Mhm.
4 extra possessions
And a safety.
and a safety.
Like it's just like
Like,
everything that
like
you could do
and
to make
still
it
almost won
easier,
and
and then you
still
still
had a
almost beat
lead
them.
late in the game. So, like,
That's what I'm saying. That's
spin
why I'm
zone,
saying,
I love spin zone, but hey,
yeah. No, but it
that's
is
where
what
I
it
live.
is. Like
True.
it's what it is. It's you. So there's two ways that you have to always look at any of these things. There's, on the one hand, you lost the game and you got
Yep.
to wear that.
Mhm.
Okay, you got to wear that, and
Mhm.
all of the criticism that you deserve for putting yourself in the position that you were to start that game, for failing to capitalize on the opportunities to get back into the game earlier than you did. You got to wear all that stuff, and then you got to wear how you let the game end, both giving up the big play and then failing to convert in the red zone at the end. You got to wear all that shit, right? but that doesn't mean Alabama doesn't have to wear any of the stuff, and that we are going to just pretend like there aren't some vulnerabilities. That if they run into the wrong matchup and they don't get up 28-0 when everything goes right for them in the first quarter,
Yeah.
right? That somehow this just means like that's just where they are. They're here and everybody else is here or something like that. No, like you okay, let's see how you play against Texas, Alabama,
Yeah.
because that's a different squad over there. And you've already almost lost to them 2 years ago when they missed a field goal late that would have won it. You did lose to them last year, and I think they're better than they were either of those two
Yeah. Right.
years.
I agree.
And 2 years ago, that was the Will Anderson, Bryce Young year.
Right.
Like that team was supposed to be like it,
Yep.
and that's the team LSU beat. And so I I'm just saying, pump the brakes a little bit because as impressive as it was when they got out to that big lead, you can't just overlook the fact that they almost lost that game
Mm-hmm.
because I think they have some flaws that you guys started to expose. And so then it's
Way
about,
too
all
late.
right, so where do we go? Where do we go in the film? For everybody who's coming up on their schedule, where do they go in the film to find, those vulnerabilities to take advantage of? Because Alabama is certainly not invincible, and that's all I was saying with that. Is that's why I said I titled it the way that I did. That they are
Yep.
not above criticism, because they're not. This is not the like I was saying earlier, if Nick Saban is on that sideline as a coach and not as a spectator,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they're up 28-0 to start the second quarter, you guys don't have a prayer.
Nope. I didn't know that. I'm like that's what
It's
that's what I
over.
mean.
It is legitimately
And my
over.
mindset down 28 nothing comes from the past
Right.
against Alabama. It's like, well, like that's literally that what you just said alone is literally the reason why my brother left and went home last night.
Mm-hmm.
Because if
Mm-hmm.
we're used to a Saban coach team where it's like, well, we're gonna give up probably 28 more points here shortly.
Right.
Like, so I'm with you. I do very much agree with that. I didn't think about it that way because I was just sad, but it's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's a very true thing, to say the least.
But let's just pull this up real quick because this is why I'm bringing that up. It's not just because I know it can seem that way because we're not Alabama fans and it's real easy for us to just shit on Alabama just because we're jealous or whatever. I get
Yep.
it. You could call it whatever you want to call it, and maybe there's some truth to that. Oh, by the way, so another thing, South Florida, um, Tulane beat the brakes off of them yesterday.
What was the score of
Like
that
it
game?
was, I don't even remember, but it was.
Didn't
Let's
see.
see. I can just go to South Florida's team page and we'll see what in the hell? Why are we showing this when okay. All right, let's go to their let's go to their
Thank you.
why is
What are you
this
doing, Chad? Why are
on
you
their
gonna do
team
this?
page? Why
Why are
is
you
that
gonna
on
do
their
this
team
to me?
page?
You're setting
I
me
know,
up.
right? Yeah. Tulane beat them 45-10.
Holy Jesus.
And it wasn't even that close. Like it was let me pull it up because it was it was very ugly early. It was 31-0. And then they
Man.
scored a late touchdown at the end of the first half. It was 31-0 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. That's how bad it was. So, and remember, this is a team that was in Tuscaloosa and had Alabama in the red zone with a chance to take the lead with 6 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, which is
So,
fair. Like we so quickly forget that Alabama
mhm,
was almost losing to South Florida late in the game. So
yeah. So they go to Vanderbilt this week, which we've seen Vanderbilt, not a joke, but Alabama can possibly expose some stuff that other teams haven't been able to yet. Then they've got South Carolina. South Carolina ain't no joke either, and that's a morning kickoff in Tuscaloosa. I don't know how they do with 11 a.m. kickoffs. Well, noon Eastern, but it's anyway. I don't know how they do with that. LSU sucks at those games. We're just like it's not enough time for fans to get drunk.
it's
So for a
true.
home game, LSU would rather play a road game at this time of day than
That
a
makes
home
sense.
game. Um, so, but Anyway, then they've got at Tennessee and Neyland, Missouri in Tuscaloosa, then at LSU in Baton Rouge, then Mercer, nothing, then at Oklahoma, and that's not looking like it's real tough, and then Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Who knows? Hugh Freeze and the way that Auburn's been playing, who knows? It's possible. And then, of course, they're probably going to be in the SEC championship game if things keep going. So I'm just that's why I'm saying, like, pump the brakes a little bit on, like, it may be impressive that they did what they did, but if I'm voting for who belongs where in this thing, it's probably Texas and Ohio State 1-2 for me. And then
Yeah.
I'm probably Alabama, Tennessee maybe after
Yeah.
that. And then it starts to get kind of interesting. Oregon is up there somewhere. Although they didn't look terribly impressive against UCLA. That's what I'm saying is, like, if Oregon looked roughly the same level of impressiveness as we did against UCLA, then are we that impressive? No.
Yeah.
So, is Oregon? I don't know. I
The
don't think so.
spiral, the spiral of, like, but are we good? Are they good?
Are they
Is
good? I don't
anybody
know.
good? Are they
I don't know
like?
what anything means yet. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's like, what
And
does this mean?
I still think we're probably like a couple of weeks away from knowing what stuff means.
Right.
Because I don't even the thing about it is last night's Georgia Alabama game makes it even more confusing because I
Does.
don't know which one of those is the real Alabama and the real Georgia.
Right.
Is the real Alabama the one that got lucky and got a couple of early touchdowns on some, like, quick turnarounds, big
Yeah.
plays?
And
Or
defense
is
being
the
tired.
real
Yeah.
right, or is the real Alabama the one that went like 9 possessions in a row without scoring?
Yeah. We are known to deliver things to Alabama when Kirby is known to just spot possessions and points to Alabama
Mhm,
out of
mhm.
nowhere. I mean, that game, last night's game, is not on Kirby, by the way. That is purely on execution of the players.
Yeah, yeah.
I believe
And
that's like
largely Carson Beck,
right.
honestly,
That is
because
none of that's on
there's a
coaching. I
few of
wish I
those that
could
are.
say it is, but none of it is on
Mhm,
coaching, in my opinion. Last night was on
yeah,
effort, execution, and Carson Beck not performing in the first half.
yeah, yeah,
That's where
for
I'll
sure.
leave that.
Hmm. Yeah. So, but it just made it that much harder to understand what the hell this college football season means
Yep.
because I'm at a loss.
Dude,
I'm
we get to
trying really
enjoy it
hard
much
to figure
longer.
out.
It's so
We
much better when
do.
it's not it's 1,000 times better when it's not a foregone conclusion who the
Right, right,
national champion's gonna be. This is
right.
way more fun, especially with a 12-team playoff. This is 10 times more
And
fun.
that's what I was going to say. Like, you get into the 12-team playoff era. The other part of it is you don't get to do what you used to be able to do, which is, like, in the BCS era, play one game, and if you win that one game, you got it. Or, um, which, in the 14 playoff, it's 2 games. So, it was to the point where if you could get into the playoff, you knew, okay, if I match up well against this team and I match up well against that team, I'm good. I got it. Now with 12-team playoff, even if you're one of the top 4 seeds, you still have to win 3 games and 3 tough games
Yeah.
back to back to back to take down the title. So I think even when you get to the 12-team playoff, I think it's very likely that we'll have 8, 9, maybe even 10 teams that have a legit shot at making the Final Four and even getting to the title game. Maybe not all 8, 9, 10 of them are capable of winning it all,
Yeah.
but you could have 6 legit contenders to win the whole thing. And that just makes it so much more interesting than having a 14 playoff where one of the teams that's not even in it, like Georgia last year.
Mhm.
To think of Georgia not even being in the mix when Georgia could have won the whole. If it was a 12-team playoff last year, you guys could have won the whole thing,
Right. I agree.
but you
I
weren't
agree,
even
man.
there.
Right. That's what I mean.
So now you have, and Oregon too. Oregon possibly could have won the whole thing last year.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm with you.
There's a few teams like that where it's like, man, you let those teams in now, and now that actually could happen. Just like with college basketball, where you have, like, a number 6 seed wins the whole thing. Like, well, if you shrink the field small enough, that number 6 seed doesn't even make it into the field.
Right.
But then they won the whole thing when you expanded the field. Well, maybe that means the field should be expanded.
Right.
If you expand it so far that, like, there's 30 teams that never even, have a chance, then it's probably a little bit too much. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. All
Yeah,
right,
it's gonna be
we
great.
will we'll stop beating this dead horse, and we'll let Tyler get back to getting his mind off of the debacle that was last night. But
I feel better now.
it's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah,
it's going to be all right.
You're not alone.
It's okay. It will be okay. The world will
That's
keep
right.
on turning.
That's right. The world keeps on turning, and the South End Zone will be back next week or later this week. And we appreciate everybody tuning in. Don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe. Share this with all your friends, and we will catch you on the flip side. South End Zone is out of here. I'm Chad. He's Tyler. Peace, y'all.